the Integra Type R. It was, like I said, coming into Integras, you always look up to the top model that you can't have, you know? And that was the one. So, you know, now today I own 2 of them, but as crazy as it sounds. But yeah, definitely I'm an enthusiast of all cars. I've owned Del Sols, yeah, you know, every hatchback body style you can imagine, so.
I got into high school and a couple of my friends started getting into the same stuff, and eventually I picked up my first car, a 94 Civic CX hatchback, pretty much the lowest model they made, and set out to do a bunch of stuff to it, and from there we got a lot further than I ever expected.
Your car, Slow Turtle, was about so many things. It was about, you know, just being able to get away from everybody. We just sat in the garage, did our own thing. Nobody gave us grief for it.
Working on that car was it was exciting, you know, like it just brought us together, and I still remember the first day that we got my car started. I mean, after all that work, it didn't have a hood on it at the time. I don't even think the lights were working, and because we had torn everything apart. And that day that we got the motor running, we just, you know, took it around with my friends, kind of a desolate area, and we ended up getting pulled over by a fire truck of all things, who saw the car, you know, in shambles, and it was loud. The header was like barely connected and no exhaust, and it was just super loud, and we were just dirty. There was no seat belts in it, and we were just laughing. You could not take the smile off of our face, because, you know, we did it. We did something that we were really involved with and really into, and it was funny that we got pulled over for it being so loud, but we didn't even care, you know, just that excitement of seeing that happen.
I don't know, it's always like funny stories, like when you're working on cars, because I mean, at first, like when you do it yourself, you do a swap yourself, and you learn a lot doing a swap yourself, and you run into a lot of problems. I remember one time I was doing a swap for my friend Craig Fowler, and we were at my parents' house doing it, and we were up like, I think I was buying his motor out of his car as a Type R motor, the Japanese Type R, and I had my stock motor in my car at the time because I sold my US Type R motor and I wanted his. So we were putting my stock DX motor into his car and his Type R motor into my car, and we were working all night. I mean, it was like probably 4 in the morning, and we were like dead tired, and I just fell asleep. I went in my room and passed out, and Craig was still under his car, like on jack stand. The car was on jack stand, he's under his car, and he fell asleep. I was too tired to even wake him up. Like, he woke up at like 5 in the morning, and like he opened his eyes, and the car's like right above him. He freaked out, like he didn't really know where he was at or anything, and he was all pissed for not waking him up. But that was kind of a funnier story then.
Yeah, my car was definitely more than just a hobby. It was indeed a lifestyle for me, because I mean, I wouldn't just go home and be like, oh, there's my car, you know, I'm gonna start working on it. But it was more like, you know, this car, I dream about that car. I dreamed about what it would be like, and you know, it consumed all my friends and everything around me. You know, like I would go to work, not just to work, but I would work for my car, and that's what all my paychecks went to. You know, it wasn't just like my car was my side hobby. My car was my life, you know, at that time. And I dumped, you know, hours, blood, sweat, tears into that car. You know, it was everything to me, and I guess it showed, you know.
Another DA. I think I've had 3 DAs in all. I think I'm missing one. Something about DAs and EFs I just love. From there, I had an EG Coupe, another EK hatch.
Yeah, my Type R was the first car I ever really put together myself, by myself, you know, without outside assistance. It was a theft recuff, so it had no interior, no motor, nothing like that. Ended up getting a JDM Honda, swapped it in, did the seats, just kind of put it back together. It's a really good feeling to actually do something, you know, yourself without assistance and kind of just your own knowledge. And
with the EG, I knew that the outside body would be just like any other EG. A lot of them are just subtle like that, so I wasn't looking for the big body kit or rim or whatnot. The real main focus was all in the engine bay, and that's what I wanted to set apart from the rest of all the other parts. And I think one of the main contributing factors of why I did the way I did with the engine bay is because I did a lot, you know, I was always into hot rods, and you know, watching the Learning Channel, American Hot Rod, and a bunch of these other guys, I said, you know what, I want to build a nice, clean, aesthetic, clean, perfect looking engine bay, and that's what I wanted to do. So that's when we went ahead and shaved the whole engine bay, redesigned the brake system, just basically cut the firewall to flesh out a lot of it and make it look you know, from factory, not change it up too much, but just with all the imperfections as far as the holes and whatnot, filled them all up, and that's what we ended up with that car. That itch is always going to be within you, whether, you know, I've even said it before, I said I don't think I could ever drive a stock car, a totally stock car. It's just not in my nature, just because I've always had that itch for fixing a car.
To be able to complete something, to actually get it done and say, this car's done, I finished this one, was the most exciting feeling ever. And especially to get feedback from people that's positive and know and see and recognize what you did and how much time you put into it just means the world to me. For me, it was everything. And it was everything for the entire time I was working on the project, and it consumed me, and it was, you know, exactly what I wanted with a finished product. It was exactly what I wanted. And to see it go on paper and to be able to work with, you know, just everybody that I worked with was just a blessing. Everything fell into place, and it just came out as the most exciting thing I've ever done.
They're never finished. The thing about cars is they're never finished. Even if someone says, well, my car's finally finished, bullshit, dude. There's something you want to change. It's
no,
never,
I think my coworker said this today too. He's like, every time you ask a person, should, you know, it's almost done. It's all.
Almost
the answer
done.
is anytime you ask, it's almost done.
But you'll see stuff on the internet. Oh, I finished my project. I finished my car. Here it is. I'm like, bullshit. 2 weeks later, you want new wheels. 2 weeks later, there's something else out, something bigger, something better that you want to buy for your car. It's just. It's part of, it's just what's in you, you know, you keep building. It never ends.
JDM thing?
JDM.
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 A la JDM.
Oh, JDM. Oh, cool.
JDM, 3 letters that have taken on quite a legacy among the import tuning community. Whether loved or hated, JDM must be recognized as a serious change in the way enthusiasts tuned and modified their cars.
There is a difference now between JDM cars that were around back then and JDM cars that are around now.
I think the JDM thing is a scene.
I think it's more a way of how you view life, and I appreciate that the JDM aspect is there because it's like how a skateboarder views the terrain around him. He's like, ooh, check, I can hit that lip right there, I can roll like that, I can hit this thing right there. Well, JDM-ism is kind of like the same, it's a thought process. It's like, it's how I want my car to look. It's how I want my car to be perceived. It's my appreciation for the Honda make itself.
The term was coined sometime in the late 1990s and refers to the origins of a somewhat different style of import tuning. Although there is no single right definition, the term is often used to describe the style which was emerging primarily out of Southern California in the 1990s that emphasized clean, Japanese exterior parts with an overall emphasis on function and devoting more money into the motor and suspension.
In high school, we never thought of this whole coined word JDM thing just because, you know, some people would define it as, you know, is it from Japan, just parts from Japan? Does that make your car JDM, or just this whole clean look as like OEM look? Or I mean, to me, I've always just had that whole case as far as just really clean, subtle. Even when we had, you know, body kits and whatnot, it's always been pretty, you know, laid back and clean. That's basically the kind of look that I've always gone for.
With the introduction of the internet, people began to notice this style was becoming more popular nationwide. The people who started this style, however, did not feel it was anything worth talking about. They didn't consider themselves pioneers or trendsetters. They were just buying the quality parts they wanted and keeping a style they enjoyed.
I mean, back in '95, there really wasn't anything that was